All right. So first tab is the syllabus tab. It's got a couple items in here, the general A&P syllabus. These are all hyperlinks. They'll take you out to a Google Doc. I use Google Documents. I think all of you are probably familiar with Word docs, Microsoft Word package. Google Docs is the same thing, but it's just through Google. It's online, but it's set up the same way as a Word document. You can even download this as a Word document. You can download this as a PDF. You know, you can do it however you want. You can just print it right off from here if you want to print it. Okay. So I'm going to blow it up a little bit. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, it won't let me. There we go. It's a little bigger. Okay, so just the beginning, all of our syllabi at Gateway for the most part look the same. So you'll see kind of the same setup. The basics are at the beginning. We go until December 7th. We pretty much meet every Tuesday. Now, Thanksgiving week, we probably won't have class that week, probably take that whole week off. So let's see, other than that, pretty much every Tuesday. Location, we're in E230. Anyway, my email is in there first, or it's last name, first initial at GTC. And again, you have if you want to reply to any of those announcements as a way to email me, that's fine too. Even if it's an old announcement, you just reply to one of the original announcements, because then I see too what class you're in. So I have seven classes a semester. So, so sometimes it gets a little confusing. This is just a hyperlink to the Zoom room. So we're going to keep moving 11 to 2. So if you need any office hour assistance that we can't work on a Tuesday night or through an email, we could certainly meet in Zoom. Course description, just basically we're looking at what is it? Okay. What structure is it? That's the study of anatomy. Okay, study of structure. So that's what we're going to focus on. We'll look a little bit at microstructures like cells, of course. We'll look a little bit at tissues and what make up tissues, which are going to be cells. And then we'll certainly spend most of our time looking at organs, okay? Just labeling different organs, labeling different blood vessels, different nerves, different muscles. So yeah, it's just a lot of labeling and a lot of identification. Okay, so we'll be handling a lot of models. That's, you know, we all learn a little bit differently, but I think most students, especially if you're going into medical, they're very visual, they're very kinesthetic. So, you know, models and that are important. Videos too. I have what are called Padlets. We'll look at in a few minutes. They're full of videos that go along with our objectives. And the videos are great too. YouTube's got some excellent folks out there that are putting out really good videos for what we're doing with great graphics and great presentations. They're short and sweet. They keep our attention. That's one of them, right? I use that a lot. He's him and his brother, or he and his brother. I'm not an Englishman, but those two guys do excellent work. So yeah, we'll take a look at those. I've got several links in our course shell. Okay. So anyway, we study structure. Okay, we'll do a little bit with how does it work, but that's mainly physiology or A&P 2, which I also teach that. I primarily teach that lately, anyway. So so when it comes time to register, I'll probably have advanced here probably Monday and Wednesday nights in the spring. I'm not sure. So make sure you register, you know, quick, because they fill up fast and they're limited to 8 students. Open source texts are free e-texts. You know, a lot of students like hard physical texts. You can get a hard physical text of OpenStax, and I'll show you how to do that. And it's cheap. It's relatively, it's about $50. And $50 for a new textbook is extremely cheap. An A&P textbook runs usually a couple $100. So OpenStax, how OpenStax works is it's a group of A&P teachers who have collaborated, and basically through like emails back and forth, copies and pasting, they created a free textbook. It's like 1,500 pages. It's a lot. So it's as good as it gets as far as textbooks go. Yeah, that's the link. No, you don't need to buy the OpenStax book. Nope. And I'll pull it up in a sec. I'll pull it up right now. I'll show you there. There is a spot. There we go. There's a spot right here that says order a print copy. So you can order a print copy. If I click that, it's going to take me to Amazon actually. So I click that, order a personal copy. And there you go. Whoa, $49.56. That's good. It actually, I looked earlier today, it was 53. So it's gone down $4 in like 6 hours. So, oh, 52. So yeah, it's on sale all of a sudden. Okay. But yeah, if you want a hard copy, there it is for $50. Be here by next Tuesday. You can download the app if you use Kindle. That's what this 3 more options, I believe. Yeah, if you use iBooks or Kindle, you could put it into your Kindle or put it into your iBooks. The links are in there too. So you can highlight in it. You can mark stuff in it, dog ear pages, post-it notes, all kinds of cool stuff like that. There's also in OpenStax, there's this little student resources tab. You can click on that, and it has a couple of items you could download. It's got some other anatomy zone's pretty cool. It's kind of like Quizlet, maybe even a little better, specific to anatomy. It's going to have questions and illustrations and stuff like that. Time management, note-taking guide, student solution guide. There are some review questions in OpenStax, so you can check your own work. I don't collect those. Any work you do in OpenStax would just be your own, your own work, I guess. But anyway, I'll talk more about OpenStax and how to use it in just a few minutes. Okay, and so that's that. Like I say, I'll talk a little bit more about it in a sec. Visible body. I think most of you, Chris and Kayla, I think you two need to do the visible body or sign up for it. Are you aware of it? You did? Okay, good. Just recently, within the last few hours? Say again? Oh, you got a card? Or no? Okay, cool. All right. Well, it'll have, so yeah, I'll click on the courseware. There's a couple ways to get to it. I've got a hyperlink in Blackboard that says visible body course link. I believe if you click that and you haven't registered, it'll ask you for a redemption code, and you can type that in there. It'll say you can either buy it directly from Visible Body or enter a redemption code. Actually, what it'll do is it'll have you create an account before you do anything. And once you have an account or you're linked to the class, at that point, I'll give you 3 options. You can either buy it through Visible Body, you can enter the code if you have the code, or you can do a free 14-day trial if you don't have either yet. So yeah, you'll see it when you log in and go in. Let me know if you have issues, but it should, when you go to that link, it should take you right to that login stuff that you'll need to do. All right, so yeah, Chris, I don't see you in the class. That's why I asked. So let me refresh it though, just in case. I might have, yeah, refresh. Okay. And Samantha, you're in there too. Okay. So you just hit the link and you're in there. And we'll talk more about visible body in a few minutes. Okay. It looks heavy, but it's not as bad as that. It's not as intense as it seems. It's one of those things where it's got so many bells and whistles that we want to be able to just kind of hone in and focus on just the key spots with that. So anyway, those are the two items you need: visible body and then the open stacks. Oh, this course outcome summary. This is given to us by the state of Wisconsin. There are 14 technical colleges in the Wisconsin system. And so to have cohesion throughout the system, there's a board that creates kind of the learning objectives for us. And then they provide those, and then we teach them however we want, but we have to hit these checkoffs. So, so what that does, or what this course outcome summary is, just that. It's simply a group of competencies, and then objectives and what we're doing. So this is how I designed our course. You'll notice, let's see, A and P general has 17 total competencies. I condensed them into, in essence, 5 units. So when we look at Blackboard, you'll notice there are 5 units, and we cover all of these competencies in those 5 units. Again, if you have a little bit of late night issues getting to sleep, read through that course outcome summary. Just read through this. You'll be sleeping like a baby by the time you get to about number 3. Okay. All right, so anyway, now the rest of the syllabus, and then we'll move on, is the grading scale, and then what you're graded on. I'm going to zoom that up a little bit. They got this desk here. Well, I'll start there. So the course is on 1,220 points. You need to be right around 1,000 or so to get a B. I think you probably all need B's. So this is right around where you want to be. You're just accumulating points throughout the semester. Padlets. So we'll look at those. You're going to have 12 Padlets to do, and you get 10 points a pop. So that's 120. So roughly 10% of your grade is Padlets. 120 out of 1220. Unit lab assignments. We have 5 units. So you're going to do all 5 of those. Those are 100 points apiece. That's 500. That's probably about 40% of your total grade. Then the visible body quizzes. It says 45. It seems like a lot, right? 45, but it's not. We're together for 15 weeks. That's about 3 per week, and they take about 5-10 minutes apiece to do. They're not heavy hitters. We can even do them, some of them together. You know, again, bring your stuff. As we go, we can do some of these together in class. We'll have time to do them. I'll pull them up on here. You pull yours up, and we'll do some of these together. Okay. And then you're going to have a final exam. It's in Blackboard. It's 150 multiple choice questions over everything we've done. Now, it's not timed. You get minimally, and I can change it. As it stands now, you get 3 attempts at the final, and it keeps your highest grade. It records your highest grade. I had students, some take me up on it, most don't. I don't know why, but you can take it, as far as I'm concerned, you can take it as, you know, each week. I don't care. The idea is you want to monitor your progression. I mean, I've had students go home, it's open, right? The final exam's open. Some students will go home and they'll take it sight unseen to see where they are. They might get a 10% on it. They're not held to that grade. They'll take it again, maybe halfway through, see what they're doing. Oh, I can give you unlimited if you want. Yeah. I just set it at 3. Nobody ever does more than 3. But if you do, let me know and I'll set it to unlimited. Okay? Because it's from a test bank pool of several hundred questions. So if you take it a second time, you're going to have different questions likely. That's a good thing. Okay? The idea with nursing and search tech is I need you to be as close to 100% sure all the time. And I need you to use whatever you can to get that 100% sure. If it's asking, you know, if I don't need that, yeah, I'm about 85% sure that dosage is right. How about the 15% that you're not sure of? Mr. Smith's supposed to get 10 cc's and you're giving him 1 cc, that's a problem. Or you're giving him 100 and he only needs 10 because you didn't read the decimal right. You thought you did. It looked kind of like a decimal, man, it was a crumb. Smudge. I thought I'd ask, I didn't want to bother anybody. Ooh, I didn't want to Google it real quick. No. Those days are done. I'm not here to pump out a farm of sheep that just go out and blindly just try to remember stuff and they might screw up and they might not. No doctor wants that, trust me. They want people who have a little bit of problem solving ability, critical thinking. You're going to walk out of here with a lot of info. You're going to build on that info in advance. You're going to build on it even more in all your clinical classes. And at some point, you're going to take an NCLEX or a surgical tech national exam or state exam. You're not going to have notes. You're not going to be able to check stuff. But the depth to which you sought out these answers to understand and grasp the material over these next couple of years, that's what's going to trigger your brain to remember stuff. That's long-term rote storage. When I just give you a list of stuff to remember, and then you just memorize it, and then I quiz you on it, you get 100%. We've shown in clinical studies a week later, and then a month later, and then a year later, it fades fast. That's just short-term memory for regurgitation. We're in it for the long haul for applicability. This is not to pass a test. I don't want you to take this class to just get a grade. The grade will just come. You're going to have to accept the challenge of going through this information, this material, how it's presented, as well as just the plethora of ways to access the information yourself, or you're going to be putting all these pieces together. And along the way, light bulbs of connections are going to spark, especially when you get into advanced. Because everything we do, all this, what is it? Next semester, we look at what is it and how does it work? So if we're looking at how does it work and you don't know what it is, we're too far gone already. Okay? So we kind of go back through general A and P again, right? Because we're going to talk about the brain, and we're going to talk about nerves, and we're going to talk about how transmission occurs, and we're going to talk about the heart and how the pacemaker works, and how blood pressure works, and the different blood vessels and the chambers of the heart. So the different nodes. We're going to see everything we do this semester next semester. Okay? But we're going to dig deeper. We're going to understand how does it work and why is it so important that we understand the basics of how it should work, because in the clinic, we're looking at why it's not working.
So next semester is more the physiology part?
All physiology. Yeah. Yep. Well, I should say all. It's anatomy again. But yeah, the how's that thing work? Yeah. We look at muscles this semester. We look at some basics of actions, like flexion and extension, adduction and abduction, stuff like that. But next semester, we'll look at how does that microfiber, how do those filaments, how do those tiny proteins work, and what chemicals enable them to work. And if I'm lacking those chemicals, that may be why it doesn't work. And so clinically, we may have to give you through a pill or a shot or something, the proper chemistry to get a muscle to contract or to get a muscle to relax, if that's the case. You actually need ATP, which is energy, to relax a muscle, to break that bond. Rigor mortis, right? The body gets tense. How the heck does a body go into muscle contraction if it's dead? Because you need oxygen and glucose to break that bond. So once they die, calcium rushes into the muscles, it exposes these binding sites, these filaments, and then they do this. And how do we get it to go away? Well, we're breathing, so we have oxygen. Glucose is everywhere, as sugar. We've got plenty of that around. So what happens? We just deliver that out, muscles relax. Dead bodies don't have oxygen, and their glucose up. So tiny experiment. So we'll look at how that all works. So this physiology is a great intro to heading into like pharmacology. Because you're going to take pharmacology, and that's the chemistry of everything, and why are we giving. So your understanding of how it should work normally will help you when we get to the pathology stuff and the pharmacology stuff. All right. So anyhow, days off, again, we don't worry about that. Like I said, we might have Thanksgiving week off. Okay. And then there's some drop dates and stuff. If something comes up and you have to drop the class, or you think you do, whether it's because of unforeseen time management problems, or just the overwhelming nature of what's going on, please let me know, because I'm very flexible, and I'll try to work with you as much as the college will allow me to, as far as extensions and things like that. So just keep me in the loop. All right, now this calendar is probably one of the items that students tend to, kind of have at their hand, put it on your fridge. I don't know. But anyway, the class is broken into 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roughly 3 weeks apiece. So that puts you at your 15-week mark. The visible body labs are in here, as well as the chapter readings. Now, due dates, you'll notice in Blackboard, I don't have due dates. I have one due date, and it's December 7th. So now this provides you with checkoffs if you need kind of, some students need a due date. All right, well, at the end of each module or unit, got a date. So really by September 19th, you should probably have most of unit 1 wrapped up. By October 10th, you should have most of unit 2 wrapped up. By Halloween, you should have most of unit 3 wrapped up. Okay, so again, you're going to have a couple Padlet boards to do. You're going to have one assignment to do, pretty big one. So you want to work. I'll show you kind of how I would recommend approaching the homework. Anyway, that's the kind of the method to the madness here. Okay. Again, the only due date is really December 7th. You want to have everything done by then. All right. So moving on. This looks like you guys want to take a little break? You're going to keep going. If we don't take a break, we're done sooner. If we take a break, then we'll be done at like 8:05. Doesn't matter to me. It's up to you. Keep her moving. We're good? All right, good. If you do need to use the restroom or get outside or whatever, you can't smoke on campus. So if you need to have a smoke, you got to go across the street or something. But I guess you could vape. I don't know. Probably shouldn't do that either. Yeah. Let's see. Textbook info, instructor info, student. Oh, okay. So textbook info. We kind of talked about that already. There's just some links you can get directly to the OpenStax. Here's another spot. I've got links for OpenStax right over here too. So you can get to OpenStax multiple ways. Same with visible body. There's a link to that over here as well. Under that textbook info, you can click the using visible body. This will help you certainly to a degree. But anyway, I'm going to be helping you quite a bit with that too, but that still shouldn't stop you from poking around. Over the between now and next Tuesday, I'll show you kind of what you maybe want to do and to prepare for next Tuesday. So anyway, that's textbook info, instructor info. Just takes you out to my email and my office number. Okay. student resources. Now this one is just a bunch of different links as well as some PDF documents, student resources. This doesn't necessarily have to do exclusively with this class. Okay. This has to do with if you need tutoring, we have virtual tutoring. We also have tutoring on campus. So if you do need a tutor, let me know. I can hook you up with one. If you want an in-person tutor, we have them here. If you're closer to a different campus, I can set you up with a tutor there as well. How to join Zoom, we already went through that. If you're on your computer or your smartphone, you can just log in and click a Zoom office link. That'll take you right to the Zoom room. How to email through Blackboard. I don't know if you really need to email through Blackboard. You can email your students, your peers. You can find there's an email tab. There it is, email. You just click that, it'll give you some options about all users. So you click all users and you can email the whole class if you want. You can select students as well, single or select users. So if you need to email a classmate, you're working on a project, you forgot what their email was or whatever, you can go in there and email them. You can email me through there as well. Most students don't use that, but if you did, it is available. And if you don't know how to do it, there's tells you in there as well. How to submit an assignment in Blackboard. It's basically like doing an email attachment. So I'll show you how to do that as well in just a few minutes. But again, there's a PDF there that walks you through it as well. If you don't have Microsoft Office, which is the Word, PowerPoint, Excel, you get it for free from Gateway. So this tells you how you can go about doing that. Most instructors here use either Microsoft Word or that package, or they use Google Docs and that. So anyway, if you're an Apple person, then obviously I think they have something like that too with Apple. That's why I like Google Docs and Google Sheets, because Apple users can use that stuff too. So anyway, student services, again, if you need tutoring help or other, but they also help with other things too. If you're having trouble paying your internet bill, if you need to get your heat turned on, if you need rent paid, they can even help with that potentially. So anyway, you can read through these. Two that I do want to mention: Maxit Report. This, if I click that, it'll take me out to, it's called incident. It's basically an incident report. So if something happens on campus or in the parking lot, or somebody's harassing you, or you have an accident, you slipped and fell in the bathroom because there was a water problem and they couldn't, wasn't really anybody around, and you get home and you're like, dang, my knee is killing me. I may have to go to the doctor. You want to fill out a report. Okay. So that's what that is. It's very straightforward. The other thing too with the Maxit Report, and I can filter for instructors as well. So if I've got, a belligerent student, and they're, they don't want to wear their mask, or they want to argue about, they throw stuff, whatever, right? It's incidents. That's what we use as well. So students and faculty all use the same kind of reporting system. I think in 3 years, I've used it twice. And both times it was because I have to report if someone tells me they have COVID. So this last year and a half, I've had a couple students email me, even though we were virtual, they still emailed and said they had COVID. They weren't going to be able to finish the semester. And so then I had to fill out a report. Okay. So that's it. I mean, things are pretty calm and cool and collected around. This is the country club out here. This is Elkhorn. This isn't like Racine or Kenosha. This is country club life. So anyway, if any of you this semester, starting today, if any of you get diagnosed with COVID, you need to email me and let me know. And you'll need to fill out one of these as well. I'll be filling out one too, but you need to fill one out as well. It's part of the college's contact tracing. They're kind of obligated to do it, because if you know, they may need to quarantine our whole class potentially. I mean, they wouldn't, but you never know. So, so we want to make sure that, you know, everybody's got their masks, everybody's, you know, we're wearing our PPEs when we're doing stuff. And anyway, so if you do get COVID, it's not like you know, you're in trouble or anything. It's simply at this point, it's part of the contract tracing, especially because the college is now back on, you know, we're back on campus. So, you know, really up until this semester, place has been shut down really since March of 2016. Good, no, maybe since 2020. You know, I hadn't been in this room. In fact, I had a night class. It was like Wednesday, March 16th or something like that, or 14th. And it just started kind of trickling out, you know, and I told my students, be ready, you know, we may never see each other again, type of thing, gloom and doom, you know. And sure enough, that Friday, we got the message from the, they just shut the whole place down. They said, don't come back. It was that quick. So be flexible. It could happen this semester. I doubt it. But if there's a hiccup in Racine, they'll shut everybody down. There's a hic, you know, so just be flexible. We're okay because we're all set up to be virtual anyway. We would still meet Tuesday nights, but we just meet in Zoom. Okay? I can still go through Visible Body in Zoom. We can do everything in Zoom. Okay. So if we do get that dreaded email from the college, we'll be fine. We'll make do. Okay. Okay. So that's the Maxit report. The other thing too that's kind of cool, I just found out about this last week. It's called student accident insurance. It's $4.50 a semester, and it gives you up to $50,000 with no copay or deductible. I mean, if something happens at school. So, you know, if you slice your hand open with a scalpel while we're dissecting, if any number of things, especially because you guys are medical, you know, so it's something to think about. I didn't even know it existed, but I think it's pretty cool that we do offer that. It's only $450. That's $9. Well, I guess for a whole year, if you do 3 semesters, that's $13.50 for a whole year. That's peanuts. Versus, you know, you slice your hand with a scalpel, you got to pay $400 or $500 to get a stitch, and then, oh man, I did a tendon or a ligament too. Now it's $1,500, $2,000. I got some rehab and physical therapy. Now it's like $5,000. That could be out of your pocket just because you didn't spend $450. And I'm not a big pusher or peddler of insurance by any means. Yeah. Yeah. But that cheap, almost a slam dunk. I spent $450 on a you know, one of those blue machine juices or whatever. Yeah. Now they're a little more. They're like $3, but still, they're like a you know, bunch of juice. What a smooth. It's like a smoothie. Yeah. Blue machine, green machine, red machine. I don't know what the company is, but anyway, they're good. They're like full of fruits and vegetables and it's like guzzling sugar, but real, you know, good sugar, not white granulated, you know, but good sugar, the M&M's sugar. Anyway, so student accident insurance, there's that. And there's some other stuff if you need counseling and, you know, anyway, there's a bunch of links, student resources. All right, lab safety. This is a small PowerPoint in a checklist. I'm not going to go through this tonight with you. This is one of the things I want you to do between now and next Tuesday is click on the lab safety, go through the PowerPoint, go through the training checklist, and then take this short quiz. And you can take this quiz, it's extra credit. It's like 10 or 11 points of extra credit. So it'll show up in your grade book. It'll say it's worth 0 points. It's because it's extra credit. It's not worth anything. So any points you get go into your point kitty. Okay. So make sure you do that lab safety quiz. It's unlimited attempts. So take it, if you don't get 11 of them, 11 out of 11, it's 10 questions, but one of them has 2 parts. So that's why it's 11 points. But anyway, you'll notice some of this, the lab safety stuff when you go through it, some of it's common sense. I mean, it's just, a lot of it doesn't necessarily apply to us. There'll be some stuff about dissection. That obviously applies. We're going to be doing dissection.
Actual dissection?
Yeah, real stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, hearts and brains and kidneys,
Yeah.
guts. Yeah. Not human. Animals.
Yeah, no, I just wondered, like.
I've got a dissected
since
cat
also
right
you
here.
Do it at home, I didn't know, probably some kind of virtual.
Oh yeah, if we do it at home, if we end up getting booted, we'll figure something. I may try to bump up the dissection sooner than we can, because I have them more for the toward the end of the semester. That might not be a good idea, just because they're correlating with what systems we're doing. So we'll do the brain, I think, in week 4. So we'll do that first. We don't do the kidneys or the heart, that stuff's like week 12 or something. But we can maybe bump it up. Oh man, I'd love to. I mean, videos we could, but yeah, they won't buy me a cadaver. I wish. I've got animals though. I undissected. I teach an animal biology class Fridays, 2 of them back to back, and we do rabbits, pigeons, frogs, fish, fetal pig, pregnant rats. So anyway, we've got all kinds of fun animals that we cut open on Fridays. But I could probably save a few of them, and we could work on it here too. So, because yeah, mammalian anatomy is not, we're mammals. So mammalian anatomy, a cat anatomy, fetal pig anatomy, rabbit anatomy, believe it or not, there's subtle obvious differences, but not much in the basics. So yeah, pay attention to dissection stuff in there. There'll be a few things about dealing with like flammable stuff. We don't do any flammables. Next semester in advance, we'll use hot plates. We'll be heating stuff up. We're gonna be doing some enzyme stuff, and we'll be doing some cell transport things and osmosis. So we'll be doing some other stuff with heat. So you kind of pay attention to that, because you'll have to do, I think Nicole, who's our fearless leader, I think she'll have us do it again. That's kind of a reminder when we do advanced. So that's why some of it looks like, why are we looking at this? Well, it's a teaser trailer for next semester. And we don't really do any dissections in advance. So, so anyway. So please go through that between now and Tuesday. Again, Zoom office link, that takes you right out to Zoom. OpenStack's link. Blow this up a little bit. OpenStack's link takes you right to the text. So I want to talk real briefly about that, just a couple of the tools. I know we've already mentioned a few, but I do want to pull up the table of contents. Okay, so when we look at the table of contents, so between now and next Tuesday, maybe take a peek a little bit at chapter 1. I had a student this morning, when I said, I don't expect anybody to ever, take a textbook and just read it, right? I'm going to start at page 1. I'm going to read the next 80 pages and I'm going to walk away knowing what the hell I just read. No, some students can do it, right? But remember, all of you are different. All of you have different learning styles. You've done things that don't work by force, right? You were forced to sit and listen to a lecture and take notes and then have to take a quiz, and maybe you bombed it, maybe you didn't. That wasn't your fault. It was just the style of testing that instructor did. Okay? Some students ace it, some students don't. It's not an indictment on the individual student. So we view things in multiple learning style routes. Visual and kinesthetic are what a lot of us are. We like to see things, we like videos, we like things going. Audio helps too. We like a little bit of audio. We do, you like to read a little bit along the way, of course. So kind of the total package, right? So to say, yep, you just got to read stuff, That's doing you a disservice. Or you're just gonna watch videos the whole semester. That doesn't work. Or you're just gonna touch models the whole time. Or you're just gonna listen to these podcasts. Okay. Now, for some of you, just listening to podcasts or just watching videos or just doing model, that may be really appealing. But it's not appealing to the masses, to the group. So we give you all of those options, all those opportunities to see it, to hear it, to touch it, and to read it. And even write it, too. These learning styles are called VARK, V-A-R-K, VARK. Visual, audio, read, and kinesthetic. There's if you Google VARK, V-A-R-K, the first thing that'll pop up is a VARK questionnaire. So you can go through and take it, it's short, and it'll give you kind of a summary of maybe what type of learner best fits you. You probably already know based on your successes and failures. But, so having said that, no, you don't need to read. She was shocked that a teacher, an instructor would tell her not to read cover to cover. I didn't tell her not to. I said, you have the option to. Remember, I don't tell anybody what to do. Just make suggestions. Okay. Now, I would suggest you look through chapter 1. If reading is your thing, then read it. Okay. If perusing and looking at the cool pictures and reading the captions and clicking on a link that takes you to, they've got that too. Okay. You like tables and charts, they've got that as well. All right. The other thing they have are key terms. The other thing they have is chapter review. And then they've got some kind of questions you can look at. What I recommend to students and how to approach this is do the chapter review, read that first. View that like a chapter preview. So I'm going to click it. There's the chapter review. More like a preview. It's kind of a summary. Gives you a kind of a heads up of what you're going to read or what part 1 talked about. So it summarizes 3 pages into a paragraph. So that's kind of nice. You can wet your whistle a little bit maybe with that. Just get some of the basics. There's all of chapter 1 in a nice tidy little group right there. And you're going to get a lot of good info from that. Doesn't mean that's the only thing you need to do. That's your preview though. Maybe sort through that a little bit. Okay. Key terms, I'm going to click that one too. Key terms is just what it says, just a bunch of vocab words. This is going to potentially come in handy. I'm going to switch gears real quick. Come over here. I'm going to pull up assignments. And I know I'm jumping around, but we're going to keep OpenStax up. And we're going to look at the first assignment. So if I click on assignments, it's going to give me the 5-unit assignments. So I click on that unit 1 assignment and it's going to pull up a Dropbox page. It looks just like this, gives you the due date, how many points possible. And then right here are the assignments. One is in a Google Doc. The other one is in a Word doc. If all of you are going to use Word, then that's the one you click on and it'll download it. And then you can open it up. I'm going to open the Google Doc just because it stays in the same window paths for what I'm doing. So here are what your 5 assignments look like for each unit. Now remember, unit 1 covers 3 weeks. It covers multiple items. So it has several different terms. This looks on the surface like busy work. It isn't. It could be. You could perceive it however you want. But remember, this learning process is your own, not mine. You're not doing this for me. You're doing it for you. So type a brief description, definition, or anything that will assist you in understanding the term. Okay, so students approach this in a million different ways because there's a million different types of student. Okay, if you just want to get it done, you can just get it done. You can go over here to the key terms and you don't even have to do that. You can do this. Watch this. If I'm in Google Docs, I can do that. I can highlight the term, then I can right click it, and then I can click define anatomy. Boom. Now, do I want you to copy and paste this into here? Not really. Do I want you to come on, or, you know, you can read over here, anatomy, doesn't even, there it is. There's another definition there. So there are multiple definitions. I gave you one earlier. It said we're going to be looking at structures this semester. We're going to be looking at what is it. Simply type that in. You can keep these definitions as concise as you want them to be. Again, they're for you. So it's like wordplay. How are you? It's like you're kind of creating your own flashcards, but without putting them on flashcards. What's anatomy mean to you? It means we're looking at structures. Just put that down. You just type in the word structures. Okay. Word association. Now, how many terms are there in Unit 1, which would be chapters like 1 through 6? Thousands just in those. They've got, I put like 150. That's about 50 per section. Okay. Seems like a lot, but these are terms you're going to see quite a bit. Okay. Some of the units maybe have a few less. Some maybe have a few more, but around 150 terms. And again, you want to start working, so A&P, especially, well, both classes, advanced for sure, but this is time management. You can't punch in at 6, punch out at 8, and then punch back in next Tuesday at 6. You can, again, I just said, I don't tell people what to do, but I wouldn't advise that. You're setting yourself up. Trust me, I'm a king procrastinator. I am, till I adulted. And then you become an adult and you manage your time and you're not as narcissistic and egotistical as you used to be, because it's not about you anymore. It's about your wife and your kids and, you know, other people. Right? So you take responsibility, you take accountability, and it's called adulting. Well, time management is, and and part of my problem is, remember, we started this whole conversation tonight about time, right? I'm not into man time. What time is it all the time? And this took 15 minutes. That's going to take 20. And what's going to happen if it takes a half an hour? And I budgeted for 20. That'll drive you bonkers. That'll send you over the edge. Okay? So you got to balance that. But to completely throw it out the window, that doesn't work either, does it? Then you're floating around in the ether and you don't know which way is up. And then next thing you know, the due date came and went. And it's December 9th. And you're still on Unit 1. So, a little bit every day. I know all of you work, all of you have families, all of you have a social life, all of you have friends, all of you have a lot of other classes too, possibly. So, find a spot every day or 4 hours on a Saturday, whatever it is. But I'm telling you, you're going to need anywhere between 4 and 10 hours a week for this class. Again, some students take less, some do more, but that's been the norm. All right, so you guys get the gist of what I'm asking for that. Okay. So my point, why did I pull this up when we got OpenStax? We're in the middle of talking about OpenStax, and now we're talking about assignments, because another way to approach your OpenStax reading and your assignments, and I'll pull up the Padlets, do it all at the same time. Have everything going at once. Get all your wheels working together like a well-oiled machine. Don't compartmentalize it. Don't read the text and then pull up your assignment a couple days later and do that, and then go into the Padlets a couple days. You have all your wheels kind of spinning at once, because I've created this so they can function nicely together. You can have your Padlet board up. So let me pull that up too. You just click on Padlet Quizzes, and it'll say Padlet 1, Padlet Quiz 1, Padlet 2, Padlet Quiz 2. You're gonna, you'll notice, let me One has little chain links there. That means that's a hyperlink. That's going to take you to the website. This thing with the little boxes looks like the old Scantron tests, you know. This is a test. That's what this symbol is. The Padlet quizzes are not quizzes at all. They're simply a Likert scale questionnaire on the effectiveness to which you found the Padlet to be. Was it good, bad, ugly? What did it look like? So let me click on it and show you. I'll show you the quiz first. I'm kind of going backwards, but it's not really a quiz. This is all it is. Each Padlet, the Padlet videos and websites were beneficial to your understanding of introductory A&P concepts. This is for Padlet 1, which talks about introductory A&P concepts. So let me pull up the Padlet so you can see what it looks like. Here's what the Padlet looks like. It takes it a few minutes. There it goes. It populated pretty nicely. It's, if you know what a wiki board is, that's what this is. It's a wiki board. I created one for each unit. You're going to have 12 of these. So crash course introduction, Professor Dave, intro to A&P, Amoeba Sisters, explain body systems, etc. So there are there are 7 different videos. You don't have to watch all 7. They're short. Some of them are only a couple minutes. Some of them are maybe 10 or 12. So they're anywhere between 2 and 12 minutes. You can click play. It'll just watch it right in Padlet. You can click and open it up into YouTube. You know, you can blow it up, make it bigger like
I'd like
that.
you to take a second, really look at yourself. I don't mean take stock of your life, which really isn't any of my business, but I mean, just look at your body, hold up your hand, wiggle it around, take a sip of water,
So you can,
hold your breath, sniff the air. These things are so simple for most of us that we don't give them a moment's
so you can full
thought, but
screen it
each one of those things is oh so much
from
more
in
complex.
Padlet. Okay. I believe you can even right click and you can just copy it, I guess. So anyway, you can watch the video in multiple different ways. What did I do? Once you're done watching a video, and again, they go with these, and they go with this. So you could potentially, the way I have it set up, ideally, is that you would start each unit here at the Padlets. Okay, so start with watching a few of these videos. Make a comment. Now, how do you do a comment? You see that under each one, you can really see it here. There's a plus. You may not be able to see these down here, but there are pluses underneath each one. You hit that plus, and that's where you type in the subject. If you don't open a Padlet account, which you don't have to, there you go. Put your name as the subject line. Okay. Otherwise, it'll put it as anonymous. You can see these anonymouses. Okay. They didn't put their name in the subject line. So what I had to do is tell them to go back in and edit their thing to include their name. So then they put it at the end, S. Walmsley. Then you can see Lori put hers in the subject line. Okay. Now, if you decide you want to open an account, see if I can find somebody. Here's one, Tina. So if you decide to open an account, you can see Tina Arceo, she got her little screen name. She didn't have to do this because now I know who did it. So anyway, if you open a Padlet account, you don't have to log in each time. You don't have to remember to type it. And I'm not telling you to. Kind of, if you want, it's free. It's just what's your name and what's your email address. That's all they want from you. They don't want a bunch of other stuff. It's a mom and pop outfit out of like Northern California. They're about 5 years old. So a lot of us at Gateway do use Padlets. I think Gateway to Success does. If you're taking that, and I know other colleagues of mine do. So if you open an account, then you can use it in it. You know, you just have a Padlet account, and then you can even save some of these. You can create kind of your own little boards too if you want. So, but you don't have to. Okay. So comment on at least one video. That's all I ask. So watch at least one and make a comment. Your comment can be something as simple as, I'm not going to lie, I had to look up what microscopic was again. Okay. Well, Stephanie, she commented under all of them. So she wrote a few comments under each one. Some students write big, long paragraphs under this one. I'm not picky. Just the fact that you do it is enough for me. But once you're done with it, and again, this isn't about me, right? It's about your experience. If you have the time and energy and wherewithal, these videos are awesome. They're very they're very explicit in what they're trying to describe to you. And yeah, they change some of, I keep crash course kind of throughout. But anyway, that's number one. When you're finished though, you want to go do the quiz. So if you found that those were helpful, hit 1 or 2 and hit save and submit and you're done. Padlet 1 is done. You made a comment, you open the quiz, you click strongly agree or strongly disagree or anything in between, and you hit save and submit, done. Then you have 2 more to do for unit 1. There's a chapter 2 and a part 2, part 3. Okay, so just come into Blackboard. So if you do Padlet 1, and then you pull up your goodies over here, and you can start doing some of this as it related to Padlet 1, which is, body positions and anatomical terms. These terms that you're going to see, we're going to see throughout the semester. This intro to the body is a lot of foundational material that we'll see all the time. Okay. That's the beauty of this class, is that, it's not like a lot of your classes in the past where you do something and then you're on to the next thing, and what you just did, you'll never do it again. And then you're on to the next thing. In here, everything repeats, everything builds on itself. So you are truly building a solid foundation, I hope, because you're going to be putting things on that foundation throughout your stay here. And then once you're in the real world, you're going to be adding to that foundation. So this is the opportunity to really create a solid foundation of basic terminology, body direction. It's going to come into play every week. So if you're struggling with some of the terminology today, don't worry. By week 3, week 8, week 15, that stuff's going to be like second nature to you. Believe it or not, all those 150 terms, come November, December, if I asked you to just fill that out without looking anything up, you'd be surprised how well you just zip right through it. Because everything new is repetition. So you're going to be seeing a lot of repetitive terminology throughout. So this is just step 1. There is a method to this madness, believe it or not. Look what it's done to me. All right, anyway. So let's see. So those are Padlet quizzes, Padlets and the quizzes. And then the assignments. And the assignments are way more than just that, by the way. That's just a small puzzle piece of it all. We're almost done, guys. And again, and my PowerPoints and lecture videos all correlate right with this stuff too. So you can have the PowerPoints out. That's an important feature. Right here, Google Slides. Those are my PowerPoints. Well, they're in Google Slides, but this is unit 1 right here. So unit 1A, here's the PowerPoint for that. This goes right down the line with your OpenStax. The other thing about my PowerPoints is I add notes at the bottom. Let me see if I can get them there. You can see some notes there. Okay, these are my lecture notes. So a lot of your answers are going to be found in here as well. And again, you can download this as a PowerPoint. You see that? So you can just go to File, Download PowerPoint, and it'll give you the PowerPoint version of it. So the PowerPoint version looks like this. You can print this off. Some students will print these off because they find it easier to flip through them. Go to print. You can print some slides, you can print all slides. Now, one of the options that exists when you print, it defaults it as this, full page slides. You would not want to print that. This is going to print 21 pages front to back of just the full page slide. I mean, maybe you would, it's big writing, okay? But you have other options. You can get the notes pages. So all those notes don't show up if I just print a slide off. But notice this has the slide and it has my notes with it too. So if you're going to print 22 pages front and back, you want to go this route, the notes pages route. You can also print it off in a short and sweet 6-page outline. So maybe you don't want all the slides, but you want the information that's in the slides. So there you have that too. Okay, that's all under this area for print layout. You can also print a notes page like this, where you have 3 slides and then you write down some notes. So if you do this and then you watch my video, then you can maybe take notes with the slides as I go through them. I mean, there's so many options with how you would maybe use the PowerPoints. But remember, we have a YouTube course YouTube channel. This has the lectures to go with the slides. So if I open this up, there you go. This is all your lecture video stuff. It's closed captioned as well. So these are your lecture videos that go with your OpenStacks and go with your PowerPoints. This is what you're going to want to watch, and this is the meat and potatoes. Okay. There's some gravy to go with it. Definitely. Okay. So these are the slides. This is me going through the slides talking about it. Okay. This is the Padlets. These are other people talking about the same exact stuff. Maybe a few more bells and whistles and pretty graphics. And you just got done listening to me for 2 hours, so maybe you don't want to have to put yourself through that again. Anyway, so let me go back to the assignment page. So as we leave these definitions, so all those definitions, you can get those from, we've gone through where to get those, okay, on how to find them, how to approach reading, how to approach the lecture stuff. Part 2, and this is kind of where we're going to end. The rest of your unit assignments are going to have a few short answer questions, but the bulk are going to be identification stuff. And again, some of this you'll find in my lecture video. In fact, if we go to our YouTube course channel, this video, X that one out. This video here will discuss, so watch this video too before next Tuesday. This goes through some of the basics of visible body, how to access it. And again, we're going to go through this together next week a little bit, but I don't want you to come in completely cold. Okay, so lukewarm is good. So if you watch this or even a little bit, you can see me with no mask, and I must have just shaved. I don't shave very often, especially with COVID. So looks like I got it must have been summer or something. But anyway, this was just last fall, I thought, or spring. Anyway, the information's the same. Again, this goes through visible body. So this is where you're going to find some of the good info. This particular one's about cells. So anyhow, where was I? Oh, I was doing this. All right. So anyway, directional terms, and then homeostasis a little bit, more body terminology. And again, these are all from visible body. These illustrations and images are directly from visible body. Okay, so we'll dive in a little bit together next Tuesday on that. And then next Tuesday, we're also going to look at cell models. I've got some of those. So we'll have this out. We'll have cell models out. We're going to be going through cells a little bit of basic chemistry next week, nothing too strenuous. And then the next week, and then we'll get into tissues a little bit and then end with skin. So we basically go through some terminology stuff and then body system stuff, body organization. Then we'll look at very little chemistry. We save that for advanced because that all physiology is chemistry, biochemistry. Okay, so we won't do much with chemistry. So we'll do some cells and some tissues and some skin. That's what we're going to do next week and the week after. And then we'll be done with unit 1, and then we'll get into bones and muscles, the fun stuff. So this first unit is kind of the boring, mundane stuff. It's kind of micro scale. Students are kind of, So just hang in there these first couple weeks, focus maybe a lot more on getting used to kind of how the OpenStax works, getting kind of your own plan together, how you're going to approach it, getting your visible body somewhat organized a little bit. Just poke around on it. You're not going to break it or anything. Let's see what else. Oh, and the Padlets. Anyway, just get some of that stuff going. You'll be just fine. Because then, once week 4 hits, we're gonna have buckets of bones out, and we're gonna have a lot of models, a lot of Mr. and a few Mrs. muscles over there. Well, nowadays it could be an it, right, or a they. So it looks like there's a couple theys over there too. So we are diverse. We want everyone represented for sure. So we have hims, hers, and theys regarding models. All right, let's see. Well, guys, I think for now, man, I think I'm ready to pack it in. I think you guys are too. That's a lot of info. I want to leave you to your own devices at this point, so you can figure out some of this on your own.